So Doug, can you explain to me a little more about what you meant by the counter and the rotation and the heel and some of the things you were telling us about in these tips? Can you elaborate, like the one where you did the back, you started skiing backwards and then for the counter. What are you doing there? Can you explain what's going on with the hips a little bit?
Well, in skiing, being in that countered position where your hips and your shoulders are facing down the fall line, it makes the skis turn much easier. And I always think of it, let the skis do all the work. So if you got that good athletic stance with your hips and shoulders and hands facing down the hill, the skis will just turn naturally. Now, we were in the bumps here a couple of days ago, and countering is a necessity in the bumps. You have to have a good counter position. And I want to see a very definite pole plant. The plant is behind the heel. A lot of people have a hard time with that pole plant. So I like to see a good counter position and a pole plant, and I aim for the crown of the bump and turn on the crown and then skid down the backside and try to go right down the fall line. I like to see a lot of extension and flexion with the ankles and a very quiet upper body. So you somewhat separate the upper and lower body and your legs are doing all the work. So let's go give that a try.
Okay. So Doug, tell me about the corkscrew and the pivot and the spring and all that. What does that mean? Because I'm trying to put this together because I'm a thinker.
You're absolutely right about that, Ollie. Because Mary's a thinker, some of the words that I use in the words like counter, it doesn't quite sink in. So we changed the word counter.
Well, come on, be honest, Doug. It's because I'm a special needs student.
So, and she has to think the word from here down to the feet. So I tried the word corkscrew, or think of like a piano, a stool, that if you stayed counter, that the skis will turn because of the torque of your body. And this, I just try different words until I see results. And with Mary, all of a sudden she says, I feel like I'm a corkscrew, and that when I release my edges, my skis will just turn naturally. So that has really helped her. We also had this little drill where she had this bamboo pole over her shoulders that kind of locked the counter position in with her shoulders and her hands and her hips. And before, she had been cheating. She'd just been countering with her hands and her shoulders, but the hips were still not countered to the fall line. So by using the bamboo pole on her shoulders, she was able to counter the upper body, and the turns look much cleaner, much crisper, much rounder, and I think she's improved in her skiing tremendously today. Today was one of her best days she's had on skis. Wouldn't you agree to that?
I'm not committing to anything just yet until I see the film. But, Doug, I also wanted to point out that when you have that bamboo pole, if you happen to run into a mugger or some kind of a criminal up on the ski runs, you can use it for extra defense. Besides just your poles, that thing.
Great idea. I never thought of that before. Yeah. Only somebody like you.
Because you never know. You could be there and somebody might want to steal your ski pass, and you're like,
there you go. So
over my dead body, you're having my ski pass.
So what you're saying is that from now on, we don't carry ski poles. We carry one bamboo pole. Is that
just because
correct?
you just never know, for extra protection and to improve the counter.
There you go. But we could use that bamboo for other things besides just over our shoulders. Somebody that's sitting in the back seat. Well, first of all, 3 common mistakes in an intermediate skier, and that is, 1, they're in the back seat when their hips are behind their feet, and they sit back and then they tend to rock forward as a counterbalance. So using the pole, we could put it behind our hips and kind of pull the hips forward when we initiate a turn. Number 2 is what I call the rock and roll. Skier tends to rock their shoulders into the hill, which creates a skid.
Look, here we go. There's rock and roll.
Rock and roll right there. We got a demo right here.
Live. Thank you. Now what are we demoing here? Oh, not countering.
This guy right here?
Not countering.
Oops. Probably.
Ooh, he's in the bumps not countering. That's going to be tough.
That's a good example of where being in a counter position, he's going to get out of there and go back. He's in the back seat. Can you see his hips behind his feet? And he's got what's called a stem, where he displaces his foot prior to the turn. And it's just a common mistake, and it's very unconscious when they do stem. 2 kinds of stems. One's called a down stem, one's called an ab stem. The down stem is when they actually displace the foot to initiate the turn. And it's very common, and it's just a habit that you need to get out of if you're going to ski the black diamond runs. The other thing is called an ab stem. If you rock the shoulders into the hill, the ski will displace naturally. You'll go into a stem and you'll do a skid. Again, you must correct that before you can ski the more expert runs.
So I've got the ab stem or what? I thought I had something sticking off my chin when you said you have a stem. I'm like, what's that? Is that something sticking off of my ear or something? But luckily it was just applied to my skis.
It was a down stem. She wanted to initiate the turn by displacing the foot into what's called a little slight wedge. Her skis weren't parallel. They entered the turn in a slight wedge, and then she married the skis up. Do you get it?
Oh, so that's a down stem. And the other?
Ab stem is when you create it by rolling your shoulders into the hill, and the ski loses its edge and it skids out from under you. And we could ski on one ski.
Okay.
You want to do that?
That sounds hard.
Oh.
Ooh, but I'll try it. I'll try anything.
We'll make that our next tip of the day, is how to ski all the way from top to bottom on one ski.
And hopefully the next video blog by Mary won't be from the ambulance. And I do make it down in one piece going on one ski. Well, that was chair tips from Doug Reinika at the Loup Ski Bowl, my friend and ski instructor. And thank you so much, Doug. But now we better get off the chair. Oh my gosh. Bye-bye.